Ryan. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Seaside Survival. Today we are going to be surviving by the sea. Actually we're going to be doing a redstone project. I've been doing some really cool fun stuff off camera and I'm really excited to show you. I've done a bit of redstoning, I've been doing a bit of landscaping, and it's looking pretty cool outside of our cozy cottage. So we're going to go check that out. But that's not all we're doing today. We're also going to be making a redstone machine. You know we love our moss, we love our leaf blocks and whatnot, so I am going to make a moss farm. Fully automated, super productive. This is a design by Foxy No Tail. I'll link that video in the description, but I'm excited to build it and get it into my world. And I'm excited to show you what else we have going on too. So stick around for an exciting episode. So from the Terradome here, we can head down this path and get back to the lighthouse and the beach that way. But we now have a brand new path, freshly carved. I was gonna record some footage, but it was really boring. Get it? Like boring a tunnel. So check this out. We've got this cool little lush cavern that takes us from the Terradome down to the plains area and of course over to the cozy cottage and the skelly spawner. I've gone ahead and used some wood on the ground, like maybe this is an old mine shaft to go from the mountains down here or vice versa or whatever. But yeah, this is a cool little path that leads down through the mountain so we won't have to fly every time. Just a little bit more to go here and we'll be out of our tunnel and into the big open field. And I've done a little bit to the big open field. You saw me last episode build a lake. You did see last episode, right? Right, so we've got this lake down here and we've got the new mangrove trees looking pretty cool. And now we have this new path along the side here that meets up with the lake. If we keep going that way, it's Nick's place, and then around the bend is the lighthouse and the seaside. Ooh, XP, I'll take that. So right this way, folks. Come on, follow me, the grand tour. You can see, of course, the cozy cottage behind, kind of coming into the horizon line back there. We've got some farms along the side of the road here. I've went with kind of a mossy cobble, tough, and cobblestone road. Kind of give it some age and show that it's kind of an old farm path that's stood the test of time. We've got some rail lines here too. I kind of like to add a little bit of story element to the build, and maybe we can imagine that there used to be a rail line going from the mountains over here to the farms and back. I guess it doesn't really matter what the lore is, it just kind of adds a little bit to the story. There's a couple little sweet ponds here and a nice little fishing dock. We've got animals wandering about, and yeah. The idea here is that the surroundings around these builds will blend into the builds themselves. So I think we're doing all right with that. Just don't look too far beyond the trees. It's not all done here, but you know, it's a start. It's always a work in progress. So up this way to our skeleton spawner, world-renowned skeleton spawner, and the cozy cottage over here. Of course, our new build from just last episode. I planted these wheat fields over here mostly to just look cool. It kind of adds some texture to the area instead of just grassy hills. Now they kind of look like they have some function to them. And also, if we need to harvest a lot of wheat all at once, there we are, right? So before all the bad guys come out, let's go inside the cozy cottage and take a look at what's new inside there. Now, if you didn't watch last week's episode, I'll fill you in really quick. We built a flower generating machine. This is the effort of about 3 minutes of this thing running, and it is super productive. It gets us all the flowers and seeds that we will ever need on this server. This is a recent addition. Let's give it a test run. Neat. And now say we've had enough. We can flip that off and flip this one on. It's going to open up the floodgates up here and release the water so that everything gets pushed down to the hoppers and joins the others in this here chest. Alright, so that's the flower farm. What great fun. Now inside this box is all the goodies that we need to build today's moss farm. I'm going to leave that here for now. But I did want to show you something that I worked on between episodes here. So let me show you what I've done here. Revolutionizing automation in the farming industry. Okay? Pay attention, get out your pencils and pens. This is a free redstone tutorial. Now this one's very easy. It actually involves no redstone whatsoever. So these things will grow glowberries when you bone meal them. You hit them again and it drops the glowberry. Hit it again and it grows a new one. So you can just simply put the bone meal in your hand and hold down the right mouse button. Nice. Now down here, these contraptions are simply magical. This is Lichen. Lichen is fantastic. We've used it in a bunch of builds before. It glows in the dark a little bit, so it's really cool to light up an outside area, or otherwise just kind of jazz up a build a little bit. So I'll show you what these things do, and then I'll show you how they work, 'cause it's kind of cool. We got shears here in this barrel, and we go ahead and flip this on, and it is going to dispense some bone meal onto this piece of Lichen. We can stand here and shear it. We just hold down the mouse button and it'll continue to grow and we'll continue to shear it. So we can stand here until either our shears break or we run out of bone meal, but either way, infinite Lichen. Similarly, this one works with this stuff. So lilacs, it's a 2-block tall flower that does not grow up in the flower farm. Same with these. We still will need some of these, I suppose. I guess we don't really, but here we are. This works very similarly to the Lichen. You switch this on, and it's going to bone meal the flower that's up here inside this machine, which will cause duplicates to create and fall in the hopper minecart and into the chest. Now, I left a copy of this as I was working out the design. I worked it out in here so that I can access it really easily before I built it into the platform over here. And I wanted to leave my demonstration out so I could show you how it works without having to tear apart the build itself. So when we flip this on, you can see how that works. And it continues to grow. Why don't I grab some shears? And you can see how it continues to grow, and it grows down, because that's the only place it has left to grow. And then I shear it. It's relatively easy, and it's compact. Okay, so today's project is a moss farm. Now I'm going to build this machine behind me within the space that you see blocked off by the moss blocks. It's going to be a compact moss generator. I'll show you how we're going to make it. Okay, so we start with 5 pieces of obsidian along the back. Why didn't I line that up? Like at all? It's not even close to center. That's more like it. 5 pieces of obsidian. And now we'll put 5 pistons on the outside of the obsidian. Now we'll place an observer going down underneath the obsidian. So we'll just replace that piece there. Boom. And now we're just going to sprinkle some redstone across the obsidian here. And we'll go ahead and elegantly decorate this with glass. Like so. Okay, I don't know if you can hear me over all of this noise, but this is essentially a redstone clock. So we've got the redstone line going into the... I gotta stop this thing. We've got the redstone line going into the observer, and when it flashes, it makes these things shoot out. And then, so the signal comes down here and is delayed by a couple ticks when you do that. And then comes over here, lights up the redstone torch, which activates these ones, and it just continues to go in a circle. So as long as that keeps going, this is going to keep pushing back and forth. But this is absolutely obnoxious. So I'm going to put another one here, another one here, another one here, and a redstone torch there. Peace and quiet. And we should have a lever around here somewhere. Maybe over here in the redstone box? Yes. One lever. Put that here. And now we can turn it on and off. Okay, and next we're going to get our glass back out and extend this out a little bit. And once more. Like that. But we do have to contain this a little bit better. So we come up here and we're going to add another row to the sides. There and there. We're going to want to place a couple of temporary blocks. I'll use moss here. Right there. And I'm going to be placing water and lava and all sorts of things soon, and we just don't want that getting out. Okay, so we'll do that, and then we'll add our pistons right on top of there. Like so. Now we got to get some water, and I only have one water bucket. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to make an infinite water source temporarily inside here. And you can do that by making a 2x2. We'll dump some water over here, and we'll go get some more outside at the lake, and we'll put it right here, and that'll make a permanent water source that we'll be able to use again and again. Aha, and just like magic, we place the water there, and we have a still water source that we can continually pull from. Magical. So we climb up. Here, and this is the important part. We make each of these pistons into a water source block, like so. Right, and it should be flowing like that. Perfect. We don't need this anymore, but I'll take some water to go. Alright, of course, we trade our cold water bucket for our warm lava bucket. And if this works according to plan, I drop it here, and this water will turn to stone. Yes! Terrific! I really hope that this wooden building doesn't burn down because of the lava. Does it do that? Didn't Minecraft used to do that? Okay, I'm gonna make this safer. And now it's important that we put another layer of blocks on top of these pistons, but it's really important that we place blocks that can't turn into moss. And these brick blocks cannot. Alright, got my mouth full of steak here. Okay, Pig, are you ready to test this? I'll take that as a yes. Let's test it. So what should happen here when I flip this switch is that these pistons should push these stones into these moss blocks and break them. And then since these pistons are waterlogged, the water will hit the lava and turn into more stone. So essentially this is a stone generator. Let's see if that part works. If not, I think we'll have a watery, fiery mess. All right, all fingers and toes crossed. Yes. Yes, we have a stone generator, baby. But we're not trying to generate stone here, we're trying to generate moss. So let's chop some of this down, and we'll put some safety rails in place so this doesn't get too out of hand. And to prevent it from getting too out of hand, we're going to use a bit more obsidian. Obsidian can't be pushed or broken by by these pistons. So when we do that, it should break the moss, generate more stone, and just stop because it has nowhere else to go. Perfect. So this is a very fancy way to do a stone generator, and maybe we'll build a stone generator, and that's actually not a bad idea. So we're going to place a moss block here in the middle, and we're going to place a dispenser going into that moss block. Like so. We're going to place a hopper and a chest and another chest. Double chest, we'll fill it with bone meal. And actually, I'm gonna just go ahead and put some bone meal in it now because I'll forget and go to demo it and it won't work. Now that's just an example of present time me looking out for future me. And we've left some room in front of this moss block so that we can place another piston facing in towards the machine. Okay, and now we need to do one of the hardest things in all of Minecraft, and that is to properly place an observer going the direction that we want it to go in. So let's go ahead and do that, and I think this observer, if I recall, needs to be facing upward? Like that? Yeah, I think that's right. Now if we break this, we should see the little face, hello face, and more moss came out because something was observed by the eyeballs of the observer. So now we just kind of sloppily throw glass wherever we want. We'll go like that, and we'll continue our redstone signal up and over, onto that, and onto that. Okay, so now every time the redstone lights up, not only is it going to fire this piston, which clears the little grass or moss or whatever off the top of the moss, but it's also going to change the piece of redstone that's on top of our observer guy here, and that is going to tell the dispenser it's okay to fire some more bone meal out and create more moss. Here goes nothing. Yes. Okay, it's working. Cool, let's go take a look, and then we will build our collection system. Yes. Hopper minecarts are one of the, I think they're the only thing in the game that can pick stuff up through an entire block. So you see how those items are resting up here. If we go underneath, we can't get them. We have to break the glass and go into the chamber itself to pick those things up. But a hopper minecart will actually allow us to pick those things up. So if we do one of these and one of these and make a hopper minecart and place that here, we should see the stuff that's directly above it show up in the minecart. Do we have to do a drum roll? Do we do that here? All right, here goes nothing. Do you remember when I put bone meal in the machine to take care of myself in the future? Look out for future Ryan. Would have helped if I put enough bone meal in there. So if my calculations are correct, this should be about 14,000 moss blocks per hour, which I'd say is pretty good. So I got my pockets full of moss, and I'm heading back to go put it away in the storage facility. We'll run that again later. Of course, we'll always need more and more of the moss. Now the reason that this is helpful for me is because I use moss and grass blocks along with stone and whatnot to terraform and shape the land a little bit. Like when we have these little hills or slopes in the landscape like this, it's usually moss because it's kind of a uniform color and pattern, looks nice, or it's grass or a mix of the two. And when When I'm shaping the land and terraforming the land out, I need to gather resources to then recreate back on the ground in a different place. And that is kind of double the work. I have to pick up the blocks and then place them somewhere else. So this is a really cool time saver. It lets me basically just print the stuff, and I can use that to terraform the land a little bit and shape it and make it look how I want without having to spend the time gathering the resource. I like how this series is not a quick series, and it can just kind of be a build at a time and kind of just see how the landscape evolves over the time while I'm playing it. I think it'll be cool. Hey, why is there snow? Yeah, I just think that there's value in being able to go back and see the things that you did a long time before and kind of how the area is shaped up and developed over time. Well, that's it for me, folks. I'm going to jazz the place up a little bit, and I'll show you next episode how that came together. But I do hope you liked the build today. I certainly had fun making it, and I will see you next time for another episode. Bye.